Okay, friends and neighbors, we're slowly getting there. There's no plan to this. I mean, I'm just poking and hoping, if you want to put it that way. Just kind of guessing at what we're doing. I realize I'm going to lose a little bit of lift by being that far away from the bucket. If I knew how much the machine would actually lift and all that, you know, I could figure it out for you, but I don't think anybody really cares. So we're getting along, just kind of tacking things up unless they hold good. I got some really old, what is it, 6013. Yeah, it's pretty fuzzy, but it seems like it's working. That's from my little 110 wire welder. It does a good job. It's something this thick. I know I'm not getting any penetration, and I don't know how much penetration I'm getting with that old 6013 either. I've only got the old Lincoln Tombstone turned up to I think it's 75. But that's from that little 110 wire welder. This is from the 6013. All the little tacks and stuff are just from the wire welder. 6013 there in the middle, wire welder 6013. I didn't get any like burn in. I don't know what the deal. I'm not sure I'm carrying enough amperage out here to the shed. So I know if I weld very long, you know, and really try to burn something in, I trip the breaker, and once you get the breaker hot, it just keeps tripping. So anyway, I'll bring you back in a little bit. Well, that's what you get when you got old rods and you got not enough amperage going to your welder. You get that gorilla weld. Ugly, but hopefully it'll hold. I cranked her up to 90 and it seemed to help, but I really risk kicking that breaker. Like I said, once you start tripping that breaker, it gets hot and it gets weak, and then it just keeps on tripping. So, but anyway, we're getting there. There's the difference. Hopefully that's in focus. I turned it up to 90, stood it up on end. I welded that, and then welded that and tripped the breaker. So that's on 75. That's on 75. I turned her up to 90. So problem is we're going to keep tripping the breaker, but we'll get her done. Here's a little better view of the welder turned up. So I welded this and tripped the breaker. That is when I was welding it colder on 75, and I didn't trip the breaker, but it was a crappier weld and whatever. So anyway, I'm just kind of fitting everything up. Like I said from the start, we're just kind of poking and hoping here, and get it rigged up. I think this is about all the welding I'm going to do. I got a little project lined up. When we get this done, we're going to go over and move some rock. Not a, you know, just not a big pile of rock, but some rock, and see if everything holds together, see how it works. If it works, then I may take this up to Dad's. Dad got a little update for you here. I don't know if you guys noticed Dad's Hobart welder generator, the Champion 4500, wasn't in the shed in the last couple videos. I put it back together. He thinks he found somebody to rewind the generator part for him, but it's going to be after harvest before the guy can get to it. So, but the guy's pretty confident. He sounded like he knew what he was doing. So that's where that is. But in the meantime, Dad went ahead and he bought a Hobart 145, which to me looks exactly like, I mean, there's a few changes in it, but more of an updated deal than from his Hobart Champion 4500. I mean, the motor is a little bit smaller. The generator section, it holds more gas. The generator portion looks exactly like it. The generator portion that everybody says is obsolete. I'm kind of wondering if a guy couldn't just get the generator off of, you know, a parts thing, because for the Champion 4500 they say it's obsolete. Well, I think the Champion 145 is the exact same generator. I may be wrong, but it looks to me like it's the exact same generator portion. Anyway, yeah, this is where we're at. I think I got to put a couple of tacks or whatever there. I think I'm gonna put a little hotter weld up in that, because I think I'm gonna cut some sections out on the back side, and I've been trying to find some square tubing that that section, that solid square bar that was actually power takeoff, will slide in and out of, and that's going to be our pin locks. Don't focus on my hand, right there. We'll go down in there. So yeah, I want to solid that up a little bit more, a little something a little hotter there, make sure it holds. Anyway, I'll bring you back in a bit. Okay, friends and neighbors, I've been dinking along with this, and this is what I've come up with. I had to notch this out so I can go in at an angle. I need to grind some of that off, bevel it, but that will be our locking deal there. That's just part of a power takeoff shaft. I drilled and tapped, and I'm going to do the same on this side here. I had to cut more of this out. I couldn't just open it up like that, because I wasn't thinking, like I said, we're just thinking as we go along. There's a shim or whatever in here, like a pipe welded inside that for that bolt to go through, and it would have been right in the way of this. So I had to cut that whole thing out. But when I weld this in, I'll slot this one on the side, just like that one is. Do the same thing, but when I get this one tacked or welded in, I'll cut a little plate and fill that back up. So that's where we're at right now. through that thin stuff there. Get a little tack down here. Sun shining right in my... There, just tripped the breaker. That's a good stopping point, I guess. We got her tacked up anyway. Yeah, I think I'm gonna flip it over, put a couple more welds on the other side of these, and the other side of this. I'm not going to worry about boxing this back in or anything until we give her a try. So I'll bring you back. Well, there you go. Like I said, it's just tacked up, and you guys seen some of the welds. Some of the welds are pretty crappy. Some of them are still pretty crappy. But it's just kind of tacked up for now. We're going to try it out. And I got to see how much I got on this video. I don't know if I'm going to show the trial on this video, or maybe we'll make a separate video. But before we get too horny, I got to see the bow in the bucket, hopefully. The sun's kind of screwing me. I think you guys can probably see it. But the bucket's broke down there in the middle. I gotta weld a piece on there and put a come along in there or something, or not a come along, but I'll probably take a chain binder, ratcheting chain binder, and pull that back up and weld it. I do have the leading edge. Maybe you can see it right there. Leading edge from a Bobcat bucket. It's been laying here. A friend gave it to me, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. That's where he threw it out of the pickup, and that's where it's still at. But I may drill holes in the leading edge of this, straighten it out, and then bolt that in there just to give it a little something, because it's a light bucket, and just kind of help it out a little bit. You can see that little wing ding right there needs to be hammered back and welded up. There's a split right there. My hand's in the road right there. Needs to be beat back in and welded up. But we got a pile of, it's crushed granite is what it is. And around here, the crushed red granite comes out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They got a big granite mine right there, right in the center of town. You can see it. If you go up Interstate 29, you can see it. You can't see the bottom of it, but you can see it right off to the east side of the Interstate 29 in South Dakota, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Anyway, I'm going to go in the house. I got to get something to drink. She's hotter than hell out here today. I think it was 98, I think, yesterday. And it's quite the change after the 2 weeks of 70s and that we've been enjoying. Anyway, I got almost 3 minutes into this, so I'm going to go in, cut you off, see how much we got all total, and maybe I'll bring you back. Well, friends and neighbors, that's a wrap for now. Everything fit good. I did weld a couple of those little angles on the outside, you know, just for stops. I don't know, I may end up putting something bigger in there. I'm not done with it, that's for sure. I still have bushings to weld in the hole, so there's not quite so much slop in there and wear on the pins and what have you. I still need to weld, you know, for instance, a center piece, stiffen it up, you know, as far as welding. I didn't box that in. Oh, there you go. I haven't boxed that in yet. I just got baling wire tied on there holding my locking pins down. I think what I'm going to do is drill some holes in that piece there on the bucket and put just go to the hardware store and get some springs. They don't have to be real heavy springs, just get some springs and then just hook them onto the bolts that I have there to hold them down. And so yeah, I did weld that crack down there in the center. It's not straight by any means, it's still got a V in it. Not as bad as it was. You see that rust, the rust where it comes in a V, that's where it's kind of kinked. I need to pull that up quite a bit further. And like I said in the previous part of this video, I'll pull it up, and then I got that that edge that goes along here. This is a light bucket. It's not a dirt bucket for digging or anything like that, and I knew that when I bought it. I mainly wanted something for snow removal right now, and I did kind of hammer that crack back down and weld it. I haven't done anything with that yet. Maybe if I give it enough abuse this winter, it'll kind of bend this side back. I doubt it, but you know, we'll see what happens. If it don't bend back, it's not that big of a deal as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, it's just mainly for moving snow, but it fits on here good. And I think the quick attach will work for me. When I get back to welding on it more and putting those pin bushings in, I'll make sure I'll video it and upload it if anybody's, you know, really interested. I do have grease zerks that are broke off and missing, like that one. They probably need to be retapped, and that one's missing. Either that or the ram's rolled over, whatever. And that cylinder leaks a little bit apparently because it's all gummed up. But I do, you know, odds and ends. I still don't have an alternator on here. So that'll be coming up soon. I'd kind of like to put a GM alternator on it. One wire, maybe get some of the gauges going, maybe put on 1 or 2 LED lights just in case it's, you know, dark, you know, just odd and end crap. But I definitely got to get an alternator on it to charge the battery. Oh, I did get that other gas tank to work. I took some Permatex gas tank sealer. It's about like JB Weld, and you can see I gummed it around, and then the shut-off valve, it was leaking and it wasn't shutting anything off anyway, so I smeared a bunch of that on. I do need to drill a little hole up in here for, you know, a vent. That is actually a Dodge windshield wiper washer reservoir tank. So it worked good today. I mean, I only put, I don't know, a quart of gas in it while I dicked around, putting the bucket on, and I drove it up to the driveway and dicked around and came back, and as soon as I started back, I started running out of gas. I got lucky. I made it in here and got it parked. But anyway, I think that'll work for me. I'm kind of looking for a set of forklift forks, and if I get something like that, you know, forklift forks, I believe the only modification I'll have to do to that is pretty much the same thing here, just build stops on the outside edge so it locates, you know, and stays put. So with that, friends and neighbors, I'm going to get on the grandkids project and try to wrap that up today. I have an air filter coming. I took the carburetor apart last night. I'll bring you back and show you that. Okay, this is the project I was talking about, in case you didn't watch the last video. It's a, I don't remember what year it is. 76 or 77, I believe, Sachs. Foxy is the model. They've had several models, but they have these little bean carburetors. The float was stuck on it. I took the bowl off, cleaned. There wasn't a whole lot of crap in the bowl. Hopefully the needle, it has a rubber seat and or a rubber tip. Hopefully it seals. I'm going to find out here in a little bit. I'm going to upload this video so I got more room on my phone. If you're interested in this, come back in, because that'll be my next video. This spring-loaded button up on top, that's just a little plunger that pushes down on the float. It's they call it a primer. So you overload the cylinder, I guess, you know, even though it does have a choke. The choke is that plastic tab right there. When you pull on the choke lever, that plastic tab comes up, covers a hole. Anyway, I don't want, this is getting into the whole next video. If you want to see some work on this, I'm going to get the Bobcat bucket quick attach uploaded, clear some space on my phone, and then get to work on this later on this afternoon. So stay tuned. All right, with that, friends and neighbors, do something kind for yourself, for a loved one, a stranger. You know, it doesn't take anything to say please or thank you. It doesn't cost you a dime. It doesn't hurt your pride, anything. Just, you know, be kind to somebody, because we need it. We need it. So, happy trails.